I don't see any reason at all, to be giving them money at this point. So here's this dreadful director of the World Health Organization, Director General, Tedros, basically threatening Donald Trump. Just keep in mind, this is the same World Health Organization, Joe, that told us in January that basically repeated Chinese propaganda that there was really no evidence of human-to-human transition. Are you kidding me? Like, are you nuts? Are you insane? The WHO has been absolutely useless. The president should get, $400 million we give to the WHO. This needs to go. I don't see any reason at all, to be giving them money at this point. The Chinese give them $44 million. This is an embarrassment. Here's the director general basically threatening Trump, telling him, you better refrain from politicizing this. You may have gotten people killed with your advice that there's no human-to-human transmission. Are you crazy? Check this out.
Please don't politicize this virus. It exploits the differences you have at the national level. If you want to be exploited, and if you want to have many more body bags, then you do it. If you don't want many more body bags, then you refrain from politicizing it. It's like playing with fire.
This goes on, by the way. Who is this guy to be lecturing us after giving out false Chinese propaganda that could have gotten tens of thousands of people killed? Who is this guy to be lecturing us? Is he serious? The same WHO that doesn't even want to recognize independent countries. Are you kidding me? Now, there's an excellent article in the Wall Street Journal today. I'll be covering this, by the way, in my next book, the WHO, my Follow the Money book, be covering all of this stuff. And it's good. And by good, I mean bad. Lost in Beijing, the story of the WHO. China broke the World Health Organization. The U.S. has to fix it or leave and start its own group. Leave. There is no other option. Let's go through what actually happened here. So, on January 14th, before an official WHO delegation had even visited China, the group was parroting Beijing's claim that there was, quote, no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission. 2 weeks later, after China had reported more than 4,500 cases of the virus and over 70 people in other countries were sick with it, Mr. Tedros, the guy you just saw on tape from the WHO, visited China and he praised on its leaders, Joe, for their, quote, transparency.
Yeah.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just that the WHO didn't help here. It actively promoted misinformation that could have gotten people, that I have no doubt actually at this point, has gotten people killed. Let's go on to part 2 here. This is some more of their malfeasance from the journal piece. Quote, recall that China waited 6 weeks after patients first saw symptoms in Wuhan to institute a lockdown. By the way, I have information on this in my book that we're verifying it now that I promise you is going to really piss you off about what China did with this lockdown. It goes on. I'm not going to put it out yet until I'm absolutely sure. During this time, Chinese authorities censored and punished physicians who tried to sound the alarm, repeatedly denying that the virus could be transmitted between humans. And they even held a public banquet in Wuhan for tens of thousands of families. In the meantime, more than 5 million people left or fled Wuhan, according to the city's mayor. This included the patient with the first confirmed case of the virus in America. And the WHO, who we're giving $400 million a year, was celebrating them for their transparency, while the same guy is threatening the president. You better refrain from politicizing this. We better refrain from politicizing this? Are you? Is this a joke? One last portion of that journal piece. WHO finally declared a public health emergency on January 30th. Remember those dates from the beginning about the intel reports? Remember that? Now you see why. No, Trump learned in early January, Joe. Early January. So WHO declares an emergency, public health, on January 30th after 10,000 cases of the virus had been confirmed. China's reported figures rose in early February to more than 17,000 infections and 361 deaths, yet Mr. Tedros rebuked rebuke China, right? No, rebuke Mr. Trump for restricting travel from China and urged other countries not to follow suit. Tedros called the virus's spread outside China minimal and slow. It took until March 11th for the WHO to declare a pandemic. By that point, the official worldwide case count was 118,000 people in 114 countries. We're giving them $400 million. China gives them $44 million. If they're going to be a propaganda arm for the communist Chinese government, then let the communist Chinese government own what comes out of the WHO. Because it's not just that the WHO gave us information that was not helpful. It's that the WHO parroted Chinese propaganda, attacked Donald Trump, lied about Chinese transparency while people were dying, and this thing was traveling all around the world, while they were recommending against travel restrictions. Yes, I said that right. Please, Mr. President, if you're listening, if anyone in your team is listening, not $1 of our tax dollars should be going to fund this god-awful organization right now.
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud. And follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 @DBongino.